The twin suns of Tatooine burned like molten coins across the horizon, baking the sands into gold and shadow. Wind howled across the dunes, whispering secrets of old battles and buried bones. A lone figure rode across the wasteland, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian armor dusted, cloak tattered, visor reflecting endless desert. Behind him hovered his speeder, and in the saddlebag rested a small sphere, Grogu's favorite toy, the only sign of innocence in a world of monsters. He had come to Mos Pelgo, a ghost town half swallowed by the desert. Its people were weary, their eyes hollow from years of fear, and what they feared most lived beneath their feet. As Din stepped into the cantina, the hum of conversation fell silent. Eyes followed the glint of Beskar, the bartender, a Twi'lek with trembling hands, nodded toward the far end of the room. "He's been waiting for you," she whispered. There sat Cobb Vanth, wearing a familiar set of battered Mandalorian armor. "It was Boba Fett's. Didn't think the guild sent babysitters," Cobb said, tilting his glass. "I'm not here for that armor," Din replied. "I'm here because something's killing your people." Cobb sighed, leaning forward. "The Krayt Dragon, it comes from the Dune Sea. Eats banthas, Tuskens, even people. We tried fighting it. Blasters don't make a dent." Din's visor tilted. "Then we don't use blasters." Outside, the ground trembled, a low, rumbling growl like thunder beneath the earth. Glasses rattled. Someone screamed, "It's feeding again," Cobb muttered. Din turned toward the door. "Let's go see your dragon." They rode across the desert, joined by a small group of Tusken raiders, unlikely allies bound by necessity. Their leader signed in sharp hand gestures. "The dragon sleeps beneath the old Sarlacc pit," Din translated. "It's bigger than we thought." When they reached the site, the ground looked like a battlefield frozen in time. Skeletons of banthas, rusted speeder parts, and scorched sand. The pit itself was wide enough to swallow a freighter. Cobb stared into the darkness. "How do you kill something that lives under the ground?" "Carefully," Din said, scanning the terrain, "and with bait." Under the blistering suns, the villagers and Tusken raiders worked side by side, digging trenches, laying explosives, and tying a massive bantha to a wooden post at the edge of the crater. Grogu watched from the speeder, cooing softly, unaware of the danger. Din turned to him and said, "Stay put, no snacks." The plan was simple: lure the Krayt Dragon out, detonate the explosives when it surfaced, and pray it worked. But plans on Tatooine rarely went smooth. As night fell, the desert grew quiet. Stars blinked across the endless sky. The air grew still, too still. Then came the rumble. Sand exploded upward as the Krayt Dragon erupted from the ground, a colossal serpent of bone and scale, its mouth glowing with acid vapor. The sound of its roar shook the dunes for miles. "Now!" Din shouted. Cobb hit the detonator. Explosions rippled across the sand, a blinding wave of fire and dust. The ground buckled. For a moment, silence returned. Then the dragon screamed again, angrier than before. "It's still alive," Cobb yelled. "What the hell is that thing made of?" The Krayt Dragon surged out of the crater, crushing banthas under its mass. Blaster fire lit up the night like fireworks, but the bolts only burned its scales. The Tusken raiders scattered. Din and Cobb fired their jetpacks, soaring above the chaos. "It's going for the village," Cobb shouted. "Not if I stop it," Din growled. They flew low, strafing the beast with detonator charges. Each blast staggered it, but not enough. The monster dove into the sand, disappearing again. "Where did it?" Cobb started. But before he could finish, the dragon erupted behind them, acid spewing from its maw. The green vapor hit a nearby bantha, dissolving it instantly. Din swerved mid-air, flames trailing from his jet. "It's changing direction. It's hunting us." The sun rose again, painting the dunes in blood-red light. The survivors regrouped. Din knelt beside the sand, scanning with his visor. "It's learned. It knows the traps now," Cobb spat. "So what do we do, man?" Din looked toward the bantha herd. "We make it think we're food." They rigged another bantha with explosives, this time much closer to the creature's lair. The Tuskens protested, but Din silenced them with a gesture. "It's the only way." As the ground began to quake again, Din mounted the explosive-laden bantha. Cobb's eyes widened. "You're crazy if you think there's no time," Din cut in. "Tell Grogu I'll be back." Then he hit the jetpack switch and charged toward the pit. The Krayt Dragon emerged in a tornado of sand and fury. Din didn't flinch. He gunned his jetpack, flying straight into its open mouth, vanishing into the glowing darkness. Cobb shouted, "He's inside it." Seconds passed, like hours. The villagers stared in horror. Then the dragon began to twist and convulse, roaring so loud it cracked the rocks around it, from deep inside. Din fired the detonator. A massive explosion tore through the creature's body. Flesh and sand rained across the dunes as the krayt dragon collapsed, its roar fading into a deathly silence. The desert fell still again. Then, from the haze of smoke, a shadow rose, covered in slime, armor scorched, but alive. Din Djarin stood atop the carcass of the dragon. Cobb laughed in disbelief. "You did it, Mando." Din raised a chunk of glistening crystal from the creature's remains, a krayt dragon pearl, glowing faintly in his hand. "Worth the trouble," he muttered. The villagers and Tuskens celebrated together for the first time in memory. The carcass would feed them for months. The pearl, a relic of ancient power, would bring prosperity. Cobb offered Din the armor he wore. "You've earned it." Din shook his head. "It belongs to the man. I'll return it." He turned toward his speeder, where Grogu waited, wide-eyed, cooing softly. Din looked down at him. "Told you I'd be back." Grogu reached up with the Force, levitating a small piece of the dragon's shell. Din chuckled beneath his helmet. "Show off." As they rode away from Mos Pelgo, the wind carried whispers of new threats, bounty hunters, Imperial remnants, and something darker rising in the outer rim. Din glanced at the horizon, visor gleaming in the dying light. "Wherever we go, kid," he said quietly, "they'll keep coming." Grogu babbled in response, his big eyes reflecting the twin suns. "Yeah," Din replied. "Let M come." The speeder roared into the distance, leaving behind a world forever changed where monsters fell, but legends were born. Weeks later, in a dark corner of a hooded figure examined the krayt dragon pearl glowing on a halota ball. "It's true." "Then," he murmured, "the creature was ancient. From before the dunes had names," a second voice replied, deep and mechanical. "The Mandalorian survived. He always does." The hooded man turned. "Then perhaps it's time we stopped sending hunters." The camera panned up, revealing the insignia of the Imperial remnant, shining faintly in the dark.